Yeah, hi all. Good evening. Let's start today about DevOps CI/CD process. So, does anyone know what is CI/CD in DevOps? Do you ever had this kind of wording? No problem. So,
No problem.
DevOps CI/CD.
Pipelining, right?
Yes. So, DevOps CI/CD means continuous integration and continuous delivery, continuous deployment. There are two terminals for the same CD, but there is a minor difference between those two. So by the end of this session, you will come to know what is CA, what is CD. So in the CD itself, one is delivery, another one is deployment. And what is the difference between delivery and deployment also, you will come to know. And why do we need DevOps CI/CD? We already did code, build, deploy stages in our previous sessions. That flow looks like very good and properly working. But still, why do we need continuous integration, continuous delivery, life cycle? So the answer is to make the process more efficient, more secure, error-free, bug-free, and more code robust and more faster delivery. We use CI/CD process. We already discussed the main motto of IT industry are the DevOps engineers to implement automation to make the product delivery faster and secure, reliable, and all the aspects. So we wanted to eliminate the lean process. So wherever the waste is happening, we wanted to eliminate. That is the motive of DevOps CI/CD process. So in that, if you see, we already seen what is code, what is build, what is test, and we already discussed about what is deploy. We didn't discuss about terminologies like release, operate. We already discussed about plan, but we didn't cover release and operate. So as I told you, the main stage is code, build, deploy. Whatever the stages they are going to add, these are the additional enhancements, and those will add additional features and additional security, additional way of testing the code, scanning the artifacts. But those are not mandatory. But if you eliminate those stages, that means you are going to compromise on your application security, application stability. So these are all stages that good to have, and this is the best practice. And these are all the stages not mandatory for all of the technologies. It depends on the technology, the stage might differ. And let's go into the discussion of what is continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment. So as in the picture, you can see only two terminologies: continuous integration, continuous delivery. Continuous integration means where people are doing their code developments on daily basis. So in a certain day, many developers team will do lot of commits to their GitHub repository or Bitbucket or GitLab. Any one of the version control tool, they will commit their changes. So their changes should be built, their changes should be tested in a pre-production environment. And the changes should be looking good and they should be happy with that. That is how the cycle will go. The cycle which are called between code, build, test, called it as continuous integration. But why continuous means that goes as a loop. For example, two developers committed some change. Immediately the build will go, immediately it will deploy to some other test server, and they will do all kind of a testing, code scanning, everything. If the ultimate product is looking good, they will process for the release and deploy stages. Until then, they will not process. If there are some issues after testing, after deploying the pre-production, they will again come back and do the modification in their code, and again they will do build, and they again will go for test. So that's why they are drawn in some circle. In the same way, continuous delivery also, while doing the application performance testing or functional testing, if there are any issues, they know if you wanted to deliver some of the versions on different environments, the cycle will go like this. We will see in depth what it is. I will pause here if you have any questions as of now. Yes. So you can see in the continuous integration, the simple terminology is integrating the code changes on daily basis and build the artifact several times in a day. So if you see the first diagram, when they do their coding, it go for building, it go for unit testing, it go for to the different environments like staging, QA, dev, and see what all the tests are passing. If something wrong, again they will inform to the developers, or developer can see the reports what went wrong, and they can correct it there itself. That is how we have created one circle. If you see in the second diagram, check-in happens. CI server means continuous integration server. It will what it does, it will build this, test it. Whatever the result feedback will be sent to developers. So that is why continuous integration very important, and the continuous integration tools also very much important in the market. That is why this whole process we need to automate. That is the picture of continuous integration tools. They make this process automate. We don't need to build, we don't need to run Maven commands, we don't need to run any JMeter testing commands, we don't need to run any scanning commands. Everything we can configure in the continuous integration tool, and only if the developer commits the changes, only developer, whatever the latest modification which he has done, those things will automatically build, test, and the feedback will be again goes to the developer in the form of email or any kind of HTML report. So if the developer finds any kind of issues in that area, he will again modify the code and go for the building of the product again. This is a continuous loop, and that is why we call it as continuous integration. If you are clear about continuous integration, I will go to the next stage called continuous delivery. So yeah, continuous delivery, as I said, once a build is happened and deployed to the one of the pre-production environments, and we see it is looking good and we are happy and we can make it to the production. That means whatever the website we have developed as the product is looking good, and we thought that it will work very good in production and it may not have any issues. In that scenario, we manually do the deployment to the production, assuming that it doesn't have any bugs, it doesn't have any code issues, it doesn't have any bugs. So we will deploy into the production manually. I'm mentioning the term manually because all the pre-production stages automatically we deploy. We don't need any in-between approvals, or we don't need anyone's commitment to deploy in the pre-production area. But in the case of production, we want to make sure it should work properly. That is why we manually do the deployment to production. So that is continuous delivery. In the exact terminology, continuous delivery means making the product ready in the pre-production environments so that it can be deployed at any time in the production with some approvals. That is called continuous delivery. And there is a very minor difference between continuous delivery and deployment. Deployment means we have achieved all kind of these things. We are 100% sure that there will be no issues, no bugs will be identified. That's how we don't require any approvals. We don't need anyone interference after acceptance test. Will automatically deploy into the production. That is how continuous deployment. To achieve continuous deployment, we need specific kind of pipelines where it will eliminate all the bugs It will eliminate all the lean processes. It will eliminate all the issues in the code. So that is how all the pre-production environments, they prepare in such a way that it does not miss anything. If they are so sure about that only, they will make automatic deployment to the production. That is what it is called as continuous deployment. So I will pause here. If you have any questions till now, like continuous integration, delivery, deployment, you can ask me now. Yeah. So these are the some of the tools which I have listed here, useful for CI/CD process. Some of the tools specifically more good for continuous integration, not good for continuous deployment or delivery, whichever the process people are implementing in their project. So in the top of the list, I can select straight away Jenkins. Jenkins is one of the best tool in the market for CI and CD process. Most of the people use Jenkins for CI, but still they use for CD also. It depends on how they configure Jenkins. It is highly customizable tool so that you can configure either CI or CD process. And other tools like GitLab is like, it can store the code, it can does the build. GoCD, Travis CI, Concourse CI, Spinnaker, Screwdriver, Circle CI, TeamCity, Atlassian Bamboo, and very recently Microsoft Azure Pipelines. These and all provide the CI/CD functionalities. Microsoft Azure Pipelines is related to cloud, and most of the people not adapted to that one. But it is also one of the emerging CI/CD tool. And 90% of the people are using Jenkins. So in our session, we will see what is Jenkins and how we can operate CI/CD processes. As I said, Jenkins is open source. At the same time, Jenkins also has a licensed version. So Jenkins was developed by Cloudbase, and the paid version of Cloudbase is called as Jenkins Core, or some people put it as Jenkins X. And this is this will be running on Kubernetes. And what is the main advantage of Jenkins is huge set of plugins which provide integration to different tools. So that is why it is very highly customizable application, so that we can configure any kind of technology in Jenkins for continuous integration or continuous deployment or delivery. You can download the Jenkins from this link. So here there are two things. One is LTS and normal. You can choose anyone, no issue. You can select depend on your operating system. So I think you guys are Windows one, you can select Windows. So this is the Jenkins logo, and the below logo represents Jenkins is not well. Something is issue. When in normal condition, this logo looks like this. And the default port of Jenkins is 8080. And the prerequisites we need Java and JDK. So some of the important types of jobs Jenkins will provide: freestyle, Maven, GitHub, pipeline, multi-branch pipeline. These are the 5 important things, but not limited to these 5. There are many other types of jobs provided by Jenkins, but those will be used somewhat rare case. We will talk about Jenkins installation, Jenkins usage, how to create jobs, how we can use different kind of jobs for CI/CD process tomorrow session. If you have any questions, we can discuss now.